I the asshole for telling my girlfriend that she gave me the ick at a family dinner? Interesting.
Yeah, let's hear it.
I, 32 male, am dating my girlfriend Jenny, 27 female, for almost a year now, and we've met each other's families. Jenny is an only child of an Asian family, while I'm half and half with one younger sister, Anna, 21 female. Anna and I are close despite our age gap. Our parents both worked demanding jobs, and I would babysit slash chaperone for many years of her bratty teen years. In recent months, I've noticed that whenever Anna comes up in conversation, Jenny would joke about how Anna is overly spoiled by my parents, and sorry, this person can't spell, and how we've created a princess. Last week at a family dinner with my parents, I felt like Jenny was overly grilling Anna on school life slash dating life. At one point, Anna was telling a story of how a first date gave her the ick by not pulling out his wallet after the meal and let her foot the whole full meal. So I guess she paid for the meal.
Yeah, I feel you.
Jenny laughed and said that not every man will treat her to dinner like her brother would, and that you need to lower your standards. I was not happy about this comment, as it sounded like my sister didn't deserve to be treated with basic respect, and also didn't want to embarrass Jenny. Jennifer then went on to talk about how that would have never happened to her, as men see her as quote unquote high value. I don't know what about this comment that just pissed me off, but I said that she was giving me the ick and to stop talking to my sister like that. The argument we had when we got home was massive, and Jenny told me that I was overreacting to a little comment that would make me a terrible father, because I would always favor my sister over everyone else. How does that have anything to do with fatherhood? I'm shocked. I'm shocked at being called a terrible father, and honestly, I don't think I was wrong in this, but I need another opinion. Was I the asshole?
Did his girlfriend call herself a high value girl?
Yeah.
And that would never happen to me in this situation, because people
she's a high value.
So she trying to imply that the sister is a low value individual.
Right.
I feel you.
And then that's when the boyfriend said, "You're giving me the ick."
Yeah.
And then she spun it into saying how blah blah blah.
I don't think I could be with that person.
Okay.
I don't think.
Talk about it.
One, you disrespected my family.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know why, but what's the grudge she has with the sister? Is it because she had people in her life who have taken care of her?
Right.
Like, why is that like something to sit on?
I think
you know
it's
what I mean?
jealousy, to be honest with you.
Because maybe she had a harder life being able to do, but seeing somebody who, like, in a way, like, this is kind of what I wanted growing up, and this is not what I have.
Yeah.
Like, why are you targeting my sister?
Right.
Just because I treated her well, just because my father treated her well, you know? And her seeing that I was on a date and this is not how I want to be treated, I think that's incredible, because at least she has standards, knowing that this is the person who I don't want to be with, because they're not willing to do that for me, you know?
Right.
And another thing that I thought was, why is she calling my sister low value? Do you have any shame for yourself? Like, do you not know that this is my biological sister?
Yeah.
What does that mean for me? You know? And if you're talking about my sister like that, how are you going to talk about other people? You know? Like, you seem like you are one who is toxic, talks ill of people. And do I want to really make a future with somebody like that? Do I want to have kids with somebody like that? I think this was a good lens to see this is the type of person who she is in actuality, and this may not be who he wants to be with for the rest of his life.
100%. 100%. I agree with that statement in full, to be honest with you. And it's like you're saying, it's a good indication of who this person really is, and their true colors really showing. And it's also weird too, because it's like, why do you have a grudge against how my sister was raised, or how his sister was raised? Like, what does that have anything to do with you about? You know what I mean? So what, she was spoiled? You've never seen spoiled people before?
Yeah.
Like, I don't understand that way of thinking, or that form of jealousy, because it literally has nothing to do with you. You're just literally saying, I didn't have what you had, and I hate you for it. And that just, to me, is like, it's a sign of immaturity. That's a sign of entitlement. You know, that's just a sign of all negative things towards this person. And it should be a clear indication that this is one thing that happened, and it won't be the last instance of some kind of character showing, you know, from your girl.
Yeah.
I get chastising her a little bit about seeing some like, if we see some characteristics in a guy and that we don't think that characteristic a grown man should have, and we're close enough, we may chastise him a little bit about it, right? She may have seen other characteristics in women that she sees a little bit in his sister that she's trying to chastise her about. The only like the road she was headed with the low value thing is where that's too far. Now you're past chastising now. Now you're just disrespecting the family.
Right.
And this is a family that you're trying to get serious with him, so you're trying to join this family and saying that the whole thing about them, and then not saying that's a comment on you because you're around these people now.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where it didn't make sense. I get, but me, I'm not a fan of anyone making a comment about anyone's family. That's never been my personality. But I understand the, hey, like, this is what certain relationships do. This is what certain people do, and uh, try to guide her a little bit because I don't think there's any other than the mother. I don't think there's any sisters in the family, right? You didn't mention anything
No.
like that.
No.
So I get trying to guide a younger girl, but I don't get trying to trying to go disrespect everybody and trying to involve yourself and making that your position. If it's not a guiding light, then you're just wasting your breath, and you just may have put a crack in the foundation of a relationship.
I want to push back a little bit. I get where you're coming from, where it's like maybe she needs more women around her to tell her, like, to be that guiding light that you spoke of. But I don't think that in any perspective, like in any point of view, that she was coming at it from like a nice perspective. From the beginning, she was like, why don't you lower your standards? You know? She was like, if this is the type of men that are looking for you, maybe this is what you should accept. That's the first red flag. She was like, if these are the type of men you attract, she'll be okay with it. In the same breath, she said, but that would have never happened to me because I'm a high value woman. So she basically said in that perspective that I attract the type of men who pay for my dinners, and you'll never attract that. So that just looks like, in her way, she was kind of putting the totem pole that I'm here and you're right here, you know? And how do you think guidance comes from somebody who already perceives you as lesser than,
No,
you know?
but I'm saying the way she played it out
Mm-hmm.
was it, and a tone is everything.
I
How
agree.
you're saying stuff is everything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
In one space, you're being disrespectful. In another space, yeah, where are you meeting these guys? What type of guys are
I get what
you
he's saying too.
attracted?
It could be
I
you
get
can
it,
make the
yeah.
assumption that although she communicated it poorly,
Mhm.
she was mainly trying to make the gesture or the point that the younger girl should be more like her, in the sense that she sees herself as a high value person.
I didn't see it as
I'm
that.
saying that's what
Yeah.
it could be.
Oh,
That's how
Tone of
she could
voice. If
be.
she said another
okay.
way,
That's how she could be putting it out
Yeah.
there in her mind, but it was completely received differently because
Mhm.
of the choice of words that she
Okay.
used. You know, so
I
I
fair
think
enough.
she could still, like, to your point. I think she could still have. There's a possibility that she could mean well
Mhm.
with what she's saying. It's just her choice of words is completely
I
disrespectful.
don't think he was coming at her from like that perspective though. But I see your point. If she was, she should have said it a little differently. But in my head, she was trying to put hierarchy. It's like, you're below me. I'm with like your brother,
Mhm.
and in a way, she was kind of trying to. In my head, it's like she was trying to take away from the relationship. And you get it what I mean? Like,
I see. Yeah.
she's trying to reel in the brother, so she's more on his side because she thinks that he's kind of babying her.
Mhm.
So they could be more solidified, and the sister can be more on an island alone.
Right.
That's how I see it. In her way, she was kind of creating a plan in which her support system is being taken away from her. You know,
Fair
because
enough.
she feels threatened that the person that she's with is supporting another person. You know,
Now
that's
that,
how I see it.
now that I think about it a little bit more, though, and just bouncing off your point again, like, it could like what she said could have been taken out of context. You know,
Hmm.
obviously, I don't agree with how she phrased what she said, right? But since there is an age gap between them,
Hmm.
she could be trying to weirdly guide her to a lifestyle that she's actually living and that she wants the little girl to live in a harsh way. You know what I mean? It sounds worse than it actually is, but there is some sort of like care for the person still. You know, it's like you're a young person,
Hmm.
you're just experiencing dating and men in a certain way. You should do it in the way that I've done it, so that you can get to a position like me and consider yourself a high value person,
Okay.
right? So in that sense, it could be like she could be trying to help this girl work towards getting more like her,
Mhm.
but the way she's saying it is completely throwing the guy off because
Okay, let
he's
me ask you
seeing
a
that as
question.
disrespect.
Let me ask you a question. Let's say you were the girl in the situation, and
Which girl?
you were the little sister.
Okay.
Okay,
Mhm.
and somebody was giving you advice in that same tone. Okay, even though let's say there's a possibility that they're supporting you, would you want to be given advice in that manner?
No, I don't agree with
I
how it
think we
was
all agreed
phrased.
there.
No, what I mean is, like, that was never welcomed. If you're going, in my opinion, if you're going to, in your own crooked way, think you're providing me advice in a tone that's disrespectful, keep your words to yourself. I don't need to know. That's what I'm trying to say.
Well,
Like,
that's how you're receiving it, right?
yeah,
But the person is sending it out to you in good faith, you know?
that's not
So
good faith.
they need work on their dialogue, their approach, their
Yeah.
tone, you know? But their intentions are still good, is what I'm trying to say.
But the point I'm trying to make is if you're an older individual,
Right.
and you're trying to give me advice,
Right.
and you need maturing in the aspect of communication,
Right.
are you somebody who should be giving advice?
Can I give you
Well,
a
that's the
great?
thing, though. I don't consider that to like obviously, yes, she does need to change how her dialogue is, right?
Yeah.
But there is such a thing as tough love, you know, people being hard on somebody else
Mhm.
to show them a certain way, a certain lifestyle, you know,
Okay.
without being so overly nice.
Sure.
And I think that the approach really matters of how you want to like how you approach that
Yeah.
is really, really it's a huge effect on the
Okay.
conversation, you know. So I don't agree with how it was done,
Yeah.
but I can see a way in which the intentions were still good.
Okay. Okay.
Is what I'm
What are you
trying to
about
say.
to say?
Shaq is a great example of that.
Yeah.
Of he just says stuff, and then he says, "I have G14 classification. I'm trying to give these guys the game. I'm trying to give these guys the answers to that." Da, da, da. He says all that
Yeah.
while coming off a little bit aggressive,
Right.
and some people take him as, "Yo, you're a hater. You're all this," and he feels like he's giving people advice.
Yeah.
That's a great point. That's a great point.
I disagree with that point because at the end of the day, Shaq, the term tough love still means there's love.
Right.
I don't see any like form of affection that this girl has for this sister, to the point where you were saying, like, Shaq, he always, and I watch TNT religiously, right? I see what he says to people like Ben Simmons or people like Rudy Gobert or people like John Morant. Like, he gives them advice in a tone that is still supportive. Tough, in my opinion, tough love only comes from an avenue of I still support you. This sister, or not sister but girlfriend, doesn't seem to have any affection towards the sister. It was more like he was demeaning her. I think there's a difference between I want to support you, and this may sound a little harsh, or then what the girlfriend came and she was like, this is actually how it is, and you're beneath and you're below me. There's two different things.
I disagree.
Okay.
I think with disrespect, both parties know it's disrespect.
Okay.
With stuff that can be taken out of context, one party will know and the other party will not know. Right. And I think that that's this, it could be the scenario we're in right now or we're reading right now because one person feels disrespected and the other person doesn't feel like they did anything wrong. Right. Because she said to her man, you're overreacting. And then, you know, she started to go left with it, whatever.
Yeah.
Right. But I'm trying to basically play devil's advocate in the sense that this person could have a tough time with communication,
Mhm.
but their intentions can still be good. Like the point you were trying to make before. I was more so thinking about when Shaq made the comment to Donovan Mitchell
Okay.
after they won some game. I don't remember what game they won, but he said, and this was when he was on the Utah Jazz. He said, "You're a really good player, but I don't think you'll win a championship, or I
Okay.
don't think you'll be a finals. I don't think you're that guy."
Sure.
And then just left it at there. And a lot of people in the like comments and media, they were like, "Shaq's a hater. Why would he say that to him?" Blah
Okay.
blah blah. And his cover up or his um, explanation of that was, "I was just trying to get him angry so that he'll be motivated."
Okay.
And obviously, that doesn't work on everybody. That's
Yeah.
the tough love approach. It
Yeah.
doesn't work on everybody, but the intentions are good.
Okay.
Is basically what he was trying to describe
Okay.
to the media, the world, right? Even though what he said was demeaning, it was very came off disrespectful.
Yeah.
He said, "I wanted to ignite something in him so that he'll understand." And this is coming from Shaq too.
Mhm.
So he sees himself already as a higher position
Yeah.
and he's just trying to pass on light to the kid.
Okay.
So I'm looking at this scenario like it could have been that
Mhm.
in Jenny's mind, but the way she came across was completely disrespectful.
But you know why I even disagree with that even further now is because Shaq is a proven champion.
Right.
He can talk that talk because he comes from a perspective of championship.
Yeah.
Going back to this girlfriend, she's in a relationship with this guy,
Mhm.
and even providing advice on how to be seen by men. After the fact, the same boyfriend that she claims that I have succeeded in getting this, because that's her thing, right? Because
Yeah.
I can give you relationship advice.
Mhm.
That same relationship is in peril because this guy doesn't feel comfortable at you talking this way. So are you really a master at what you say you are? Because you're the own relationship that you have is in peril.
I think that's a little unfair because
Why?
there's no such relationship that's perfect. Every relationship
It's
gets
different, though.
rocky. Every relationship has arguments. Every relationship has disagreements.
Okay.
This is just one instance of it. I don't
Okay.
think that this could be like a boiling point to the point where they break up,
hmm
but I don't think this one instance will be the definition of whether they're together or not.
But there's a difference between being proven and having it than
Well, she's still
talking.
with the guy, and she's been with the guy.
I would love to know if there was an update, but not
Yeah.
not saying like not adding more to the story. But if
Just
you're going
makes
to if you're going to talk that talk,
Yeah,
you gotta have what you say.
she does.
It
That's
doesn't
what
it doesn't
she's
it doesn't
trying to
it doesn't
prove right
look
now.
like that thing is solid to me. That's what I'm trying to say.
Why not though?
Because
Still
this
with-
guy, it could be a deal breaker for him, and that deal breaker may be the reason why they may go their own separate ways.
Do you
That's what
think
I'm trying to say.
if this comment was the first instance of this, it would be a deal breaker?
What do you mean?
Like if this was the first time the guy found or realized that his girl doesn't fuck with his sister
Yeah.
based off of this, do you think that should end the relationship?
Personally, for me, if
Or do you think they can
I'm
mend
putting
that?
myself in this perspective, if
Yeah.
I had a significant other
Right.
and she was, and it just came out of left field and she was disrespecting my sister, personally for me, that may be a deal breaker.
Fair
Because
enough.
I don't want that
But
type
there's a
of.
conversation that's going to be had.
That's
You're going
true.
to understand intentions.
Yeah.
I don't think that with the information we're presented with,
Yeah.
it's a deal breaker.
That's why I said I would love to know if there was an update.
But
Because
regardless, if they did break up, she still feels like I'm in the position in life that I could attract another guy like this. That's what she's,
Okay.
I think, expressing.
but you don't
all
see the
this-
failure in it.
All
No.
this again is just about.
She's the Shaq in this scenario.
Yeah,
She has the
sees
G14
herself as
classification.
Shaq.
She doesn't.
Why doesn't she though?
Because
She's
to
still
have
in this relationship.
no to have G240 classification, you have had to have been proven in whatever you're talking about.
But what is the point that you're trying to make that she
That doesn't
has
sound like a solidified relationship to me.
based off this one instance?
Based off of what could happen next.
But-
Because he clearly feels threatened that this is what you're talking about my
So
family.
she doesn't have the right to give advice.
That's not what I'm saying. But what I'm saying is, if you're coming at it from a perspective of, like, I'm in a great position, and in reality, after the fact, you guys are in peril.
But
Are you really speaking at it from a like?
in the time she was making the comment, there was no peril. She was saying this based off of her current
But after the
situation.
fact, it's still a thing where after the fact,
I don't think that's the make or break though. I don't think that's a point in which you can see that as a failed relationship. She's still
Okay.
in a successful relationship. They're just going through a rough patch.
sure, okay,
There's no relationship that's perfect. That's the point I was trying to make. I'm trying to say that when she's giving advice, she's still looking at herself with G14 classification. She has no right to think she doesn't have that.
and I think she doesn't have any right to believe she does. That's
But
my
based
whole
off
thing.
what though?
Based off of her, like I said it 3 times, based off of her believing that what she own, like she thinks she attracts these men. But in reality, if after the fact, if there is an update to this, if this same man leaves her, are you able to talk? Like, are you able to still have that same standpoint, knowing that the same reason that you were giving advice is that person has gone out of the picture?
If that does
Like-
happen, then yeah, you have a leg to stand on. But we don't know that.
Okay,
Based
then,
off the information we have, is what I'm saying. She can present or she can give advice to the younger sister
Okay.
because she's in a successful, committed relationship with her brother. She's thinking, I can.
I don't
help
think
this
it's
girl.
successful though. But to each their own.
It could not be successful based off of this after the fact. We need to see an update. But with the information we know,
Mhm.
at the time she was giving the advice to the girl, if it was even advice, it could be hate still. I don't agree that it was advice. I just
Yeah.
think that there could be a scenario in which that she was having good intentions. I just think that
Brother, you really think she was having good intentions? Be real.
I think it's possible. Yeah,
No, keep it a buck. Do you think she had good intentions?
I think it's possible. I'm not
Out
saying
of 100%, what are the chances she had good intentions?
50-50.
50-50? Yo,
No
you're
cap.
nuts. You're crazy.
I'm being real. Everybody,
You actually think she came at it from a good perspective?
no two people are the same, fam. Some people have issues with communications. Some people have issues with relationships.
Okay.
Everybody's got their issue. This could be an issue for her. I'm trying to say that it's 50-50 because she could be a very bad communicator,
Okay.
but have good intentions.
Okay.
There's a possibility there.
And
She could also
yeah.
just be hating on the little sister because she's jealous of her. And that's a good possibility based off what we know.
Yeah.
But I'm just saying it's still there's not enough information for me to know.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Okay.
Like if she had another instance where she was targeting the little sister and that was brought up in the scenario, then I'd say, okay, this is a pattern. But
Okay.
from what we know, I just think that it could be misconstrued.
Sure.
If my girl did that to my little sister, if I had a little sister, I'd want to know, like, yo, what the fuck were you trying to do there? Like, you just hating on my little sister? And if she tells me no, I'm trying to give her advice and be like, okay, you got to do it a different way. You know,
Mm-hmm.
you got to do it a better way where we understand you're giving advice. It sounds like, hey, that's a conversation we would have.
Okay.
Right. But until that conversation is had, I got to put it 50-50. I don't know what she's thinking.
Fair enough. Fair enough. I'm assuming you agree.
Yeah. It's all about. I'm big on come at me the right way with your message, and she clearly feels like regardless of this, if this relationship perishes,
Mm-hmm.
I can attract another high value guy because I know how to now.
Okay.
And I think that's what she was trying to express. But yeah, she just needs to like Shaq. She just needs to change her tone of voice and say what you're trying to say without comparing it to yourself.
Got you.
Like, I understand Shaq. I know a lot of people don't. Like, I understand he has good intentions, but I can also see the world not understanding that that is a form of communication that people have. It may not be the greatest, but it's just some people don't talk the way we talk,
Mm-hmm.
and that's their intentions matter more. Is what I'm trying to say.
Fundamentally, I just disagree with you assuming that Shaq and her are the same, are giving the same type of tough love. That's my thing.
Fair,
I don't agree with that,
fair.
and I think we'll leave it at that.
Asshole, asshole, asshole.
I think
I think she's still the asshole for how she delivered the message.
Guy's not the asshole though.
he didn't do anything.
What did he do?
He said that he made a comment back to her, right? He said, "You're giving me the ick right now," or something like that.
No, I don't think even if he said that, I don't think he's the asshole.
Yeah, that's all he's asking is, am I the asshole for standing up for my sister? Pretty much.
No,
No,
that's what you're supposed to do.
honorable, honorable. Don't even
Mhm.
think about it. If I was gonna comment on this, I would say you need to have a real conversation with your girl
Mhm.
immediately, like
Okay,
a real like a genuine conversation with your girl, and find out what her true intentions are. Because if they're bad, you need to run.
fair
If
enough.
they're good, she needs work. That's just my point.
Agreed.
Leave it at that.
Mm-hmm.
Tell us what you think in the comments below. We need to know. Are you team Warsami? Are you team Slim and Mukhtar? We need to know.
Subscribe.
Subscribe. Am I the asshole for going to the police immediately when I found out my parents took out a debt in my name? Ouch. It's already a slippery slope, man. I don't really like it.
Me too.
Okay. My parents took out credit cards and loans in my name. It was fine that they were paying bills with it, but they got behind. I don't have a key to the mailbox, so I never saw any bills or anything. I just finished my third year of university and I was going to move out. That would require me to get a credit check and stuff like that. My parents freaked out and forbade me from moving out. They said it was stupid that I would waste money on moving out when I could save money living at home. They don't like my boyfriend, so I thought that was their issue, but I was wrong. Long story short, I am about $60,000 in debt because of them, and I cannot afford to pay that off. I told them that they needed to clear this debt immediately and change the house rules so that my boyfriend can spend the night. They said that they didn't have the money to pay the debt and that I could not strong arm them into changing the rules of their house. I called my aunt and I asked her if I could stay with her for a bit. She let me and asked me a lot of questions. She Then she showed me a dozen Reddit posts about parents screwing up their kids' futures and kids allowing it. I went straight to the police and reported it. My parents got arrested and charged, and they are now furious with me. I know they didn't spend the money on me. I do not know what they did spend the money on though. I don't care. I feel bad for them, but I'm not letting them fuck up my future. Am I the asshole? God damn.
Damn.
On the 5-0?
I'm on your parents?
That's where it got crazy for me. I'm like, the 5-0? Ah.
How do you feel about that?
I would never call the police on my parents. I would never get them arrested. I don't think tough scenario because I understand that this person wants to live a certain life, and they also are worried about their future. I think their future is definitely in jeopardy because of this debt.
Mhm.
First off, that's a huge, huge issue. But I don't agree with them trying to, like they said, strong arm their parents into letting the boyfriend come over and stuff like that because there's this now issue of the debt. You know what I
Mhm.
mean? That's where like two wrongs don't make a right to me there.
Fair enough.
Now, calling the police on your parents. Would you call the police
Never.
even if you were down 60
Never.
bags like this?
Never. I think something, I don't know if you said this in the story. How did the parents treat her throughout her?
Well, I don't think that was mentioned either. Well,
Like, were they good parents? Like,
they seem like they took care of like the shelter and the food and stuff like I don't know. It's not mentioned here.
okay.
It just says that my parents freaked out and forbade me from moving. They said that I was stupid, that I would waste money moving
Mhm.
out when I could save money living at home.
I don't. Okay.
That's an excuse though.
I would never call the cops on my parents ever.
Okay.
You know, unless it was some crazy shit.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I'm
It's
talking?
not
Like some
crazy. It's not
this,
crazy enough.
like 99.99% of most things, I don't think is justified for calling your parents, charging your parents,
Yeah.
getting your parents arrested. Right.
Right.
I will say though, I don't think our relationship would ever recover.
There'd be an
Like,
issue with trust. Right?
yeah, I don't like, to the point where I don't know if I can still keep these people in my life. Respectfully, I appreciate you for raising me and for being there for me during my childhood, during my teenage years, during my early adult life. But I don't know if I could keep you in my life knowing that you did what you did to me when I was at a place of vulnerability. You know? I didn't know what credit was. I didn't know what taking out a loan was, but you saw me as an easy target and took money out of my name and used it for your own. You know, there wasn't even any indication that it was used for my, you know? So to that point, I don't know if I want to keep those people in my life.
Right.
However, I am grateful for everything they have done for me, and I'm not going to charge you and such. However, I don't want you in my life anymore.
Fair.
Does that make sense?
100%.
That's going to be a hard decision to make too.
Yeah.
And I might waver on that multiple times throughout because my parents are not going to be there for my wedding, possibly. They're not going to be there for my first kid. They're not going to be there for graduations. They're
Yeah.
not, like, you know, it's going to be tough. But like keeping my peace and my mental state happy is also a thing, you know, because I don't know if I want these people around my kids, you know,
Fair point.
for everything that you've done to me.
Fair point.
Yeah.
Well said.
I think the aunt knows something though that she may not know.
But you're always into conspiracy theories. I like.
No, because
What
why
makes-
would she jump to showing her all these Reddit stuff? And she probably, instead of saying, "Hey, can I stay with you?"
Yeah.
Why would that lead to so many questioning? Because
What do you
apparently
think?
she
What do
asked
you
her a
think?
bunch. What?
What do you think? What was the angle that she was coming from?
I don't know. She may have had some suspicions about the patterns and stuff they spend money on. Oh, how'd you guys afford that? Or how'd you guys spend on that?
Mhm.
And probably led up to her building her own thing in her own body. And then this now, and have them having a conversation about it. And that probably led to some assumptions that she made years ago.
Yeah.
That's why she said she led her down the path of, oh, look at all these kids that have had shared experiences and look where they ended up.
Yeah.
So yeah, I don't know if I would call the police, but I would definitely like bounce out and keep like a cordial relationship with them.
Okay.
Because throughout your life, you're going to have that, oh, I wonder how my parents are doing and I wonder if they're homeless. And at least that would keep some sort of peace in your own mind that you know they're okay,
Mhm.
but they're not controlling your life and they're not controlling your outcome anymore.
Okay.
You calling the police may deal with a little bit of that debt because that may be the reason why, but I don't think that would give you peace of mind of having that strained relationship and you completely cutting that relationship out. I don't think that would give you peace of mind either.
Yeah.
60,000 is a lot of money. Man.
It is, but at the same time, it's not crazy.
It's not the end of the world, obviously, but like we also got to look at it from the perspective of this person, right? They're just trying to go to school,
Yeah.
and
They're
they don't
kids.
really have. Yeah, they're a kid in the sense, right? So it's like it's a lot more to them, and that I think I agree with both you guys too. But like, I don't know, like obviously I wouldn't call the police on my parents for this. That I would just cut my losses, and I think a healthy distance is necessary here for both parties. But at the same time, too, it's like you're starting from minus 60,000.
Also, her credit is probably terrible.
Yeah, like you're not only are you in debt, but you have horrible credit now. Like you're in society standards, you're literally below everyone else.
Yeah.
So you're in a huge hole that you're gonna have to dig yourself out of. But it takes a lot of mental fortitude and strength to realize that you can still start a life or have a good life
Hmm.
from here on out. I just think that it's a tough time they're going. I would never have called the police, to be honest. Like, what the hell are they gonna do? And just put them in cuffs, and then they're gonna
No,
hire
it's
a
more.
lawyer.
I think the police thing was more getting me right because I can possibly move the loans, or I don't know, possibly recover my credit.
Yeah, but
It's
they're
more
still
about
gonna have to
making
go to
sure I'm
court. You
good.
know what I mean?
Yeah,
Like,
no, but I'm sure there would be, in her mind, it would be some leeway where I'll kind of get a little supported in terms of getting my credit up, Because I'll keep it a buck. Having a 500 credit score and going about society, it's really tough. You're not going to get approved for a lot of stuff, a
yeah,
lot of loans. What are the chances? If you ever want to get a mortgage, get married, who's going to take you seriously? You know,
good point. Good
it's
point.
like, it's crazy.
Societal standards, she's like, this person is completely like at the bottom of the totem pole.
Yeah.
So it's gonna be so hard for them to climb over. But I truly believe that you can still have a really like good life
With
in
your parents
situations like
or by yourself?
that's dependent on if the parents are willing to change who they are. I just think that this person themselves can still have an enjoyable life, but it's going to be a bunch of years of hardship for
Yeah.
some time
It's a
because of this
decade. It's a
situation.
decade of
Yeah,
work that
pretty
you have to
much.
do
Yeah,
to get off your record.
yeah.
It's
And
like,
it sucks, but if I was this person, I would take that as a sign of, okay, now I can move on with this, and I don't want to deal with any drama in the future with my parents. So let me just have a healthy distance from them for some time, recuperate myself, get myself into the swing of things, find a job, find a place to stay, get some comfortable salary coming in, and then I'll start to address the relationship with my parents. But until that is done, I don't think I can be with them, live with them, talk with them because of the stress that's building up.
fair enough.
Like when you have like animosity towards somebody and you still see them quite often, I think it hurts your peace mentally.
Fair.
And so I think that a distance is necessary in this, but how you gonna call it Jake's on your parents? What kind of a kid are you?
That's Adnan stuff. I'll keep it
That's
a buck.
very Adam behavior.
That's not, I could never.
Very Adam
What
behavior.
did the boyfriend have to do with all this? Why does she keep on bringing him up?
That was another point too that I just thought was kind of weird. Like,
Unnecessary detail.
no, I mean the point was that the parents didn't fuck with the boyfriend, right? And she thought that them saying no to her moving out was because they didn't fuck with the boyfriend, but it ended up being because they were in debt and behind on bills and shit like
So
that.
they're using him as a scapegoat.
No, she thought that they were using him as a scapegoat. Well, they are. Sorry, yeah. To answer your question, yes, they are using him as a scapegoat. But in finding out that the parents were at fault and they did this to her, she then tried to say, okay, now that you guys have something on, or I have something on you, I want you guys to adhere to my demands and bring my boyfriend here,
Hmm.
which they never allowed at first.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where that came in. And I think that was kind of weird too.
Yeah.
So I don't agree with that, but this person needs to separate themselves from their parents, move on.
Agreed.
That's
Terrible parents.
yeah, horrible parents, man. Selfish parents too. Like that's the
Terrible.
worst thing you can be as a parent is selfish. You have a kid, like
Everything's supposed to be for them,
yeah, everything.
and you just saw them as an opportunity to take money out.
Yeah.
And how does that even get accepted?
You can't
Loan
do that. You can apply for a credit card under your child's name.
under your underage child's name.
Yeah,
I thought you have to be a certain age to get a
you
credit
can
card.
cash your child's paychecks in.
I don't know.
It's insane.
Fair enough.
It's insane.
There's a lot of people that do it for good reasons too, like that start aligning credit with their children. So by the time they get them of age, they
Yeah, their
have good
credit's high.
credit. They have some sort of business if they want to start under your
Mhm.
child's name, so they have that benefit. But some people use it for evil.
Yeah.
Despicable.
I wonder if these parents have like some kind of addiction or something like that, like $60,000 in debt and they have nothing to show for it. Like what happened?
Well, they have a home.
A wild party in Barbados the last
You think so?
mom and dad on a work trip.
A swinger party?
Whoa. That's insane.
Damn.
What are you trying to say?
I don't know, but you think the girl's an asshole
No, hell no. I think yeah, I do think she's an asshole.
just for the boyfriend thing?
No, not just
You
that.
think the
Also
girl is
for
the asshole?
yeah,
For what?
calling the Jakes.
Oh, okay.
Hey,
Fair enough.
You should have just cut her losses.
Yeah.
Yeah, you took it too far, in my opinion. Now you're gonna have to see them in court.
I don't know. To
Get
be
a
honest,
lawyer.
I don't know if I would consider her an asshole. I think that's the right move to make. but
In the sense of,
morally, is
yeah.
it the right thing to do?
If I'm
You
thinking
know?
about it morally, then yeah, she is the asshole. But
Yeah.
legally,
Legally, she
that
did
is
what she was
right
supposed
too.
to do.
Yeah, she got robbed.
So I don't think she's the asshole, but I just think personally, I would have never make that call.
Fair enough.
I don't think more. I think ethically, she's the asshole. More if that's where her morals and that's where she finds peace. I don't think she's the asshole. Ethically, yeah, she could be the asshole. You're not supposed to do that to your parents. Morally, I don't. She could be not the asshole if that's bring her peace of mind.
Judging by your moral guidelines.
I wouldn't, because I wasn't raised the way she was raised.
No, I'm saying if you were her.
Yeah, and I
You
was
could-
raised in that environment.
Yeah.
I could potentially, who knows, call up.
That's the type of guy you are?
If I was raised in that environment.
Good to know. That's the type of guy you are, eh?
What environment?
You're going to call the police on
What
us.
environment?
Who knows, whatever shit environment that caused her to have $6,000 in debt. Who knows what type of environment that she can say, yo, this is the case. I want you to bring my boyfriend in this house. Who knows what type of environment she was raised in.
Well, I don't get what you're saying.
We were not given enough details of her upbringing.
Yeah.
Who knows what happened that led her, that she could be as easily convinced to call the police on her parents. That's what I'm saying. We don't know enough detail. Huh?
What could have happened?
Who knows? It's probably a weird party environment, just like you said, joking manner, but that could be the case. Where the parents were just out here, outside parents.
So you're saying
and then she was a latchkey kid.
There's a world where they could have deserved it.
There's a world where that environment allowed for her to believe, okay, this is an acceptable manner to treat my parents.
So they could have deserved it.
They could have.
Fair. So is she the asshole to you?
She's not the asshole to me because she's still a kid trying to figure things out, and she was convinced of that by her aunt.
Fair enough. Okay. So I'm the only one that thinks they're an asshole. Just think, it's gonna come back to you sometime in life. You're gonna be like, why the fuck did I do that?
Fair enough. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But if that's what she thought was right, that's what she thought was right.
Only if she can somehow get rid of the debt by taking it to court would I see that as a okay move to take.
What if she could?
Then yeah, I would agree that you got to do what you got to do to survive.
Yeah.
But just to make your parents suffer, what the hell, man?
You don't think it's for her? It wouldn't feel great for her to have her parents behind bars. Just her personally.
Would they be behind bars?
They are behind bars, aren't they? They got arrested.
No, they got arrested. But I don't think they're.
But let's say they were. Like, do you think that would weigh on her?
It would weigh on me.
Me too.
It would weigh on me, so I wouldn't do it.
Yeah, I would just cut them off. Worst comes to
Yeah,
worst.
to be honest with you,
Don't mess with me.
I would look at that like, okay, now I'm starting minus 60,000. Starting my life minus 60,000. Let's work our way back up.
Yeah.
But that's just me. I can't speak for anyone else.
Same.
This is a child too, so sucks to be in that situation. But God gave you one set of parents. You gotta take them.
Good care of them.
Yeah. All right. I, female 30. Sorry, my female 30. Husband, male 33. So the husband is 33. The wife is 30.
Gotcha.
30 and 33. Man is 33. Woman is 30. Okay,
Gotcha,
you got that? You good on that?
Why you
good on that? You
He was talking to the audience.
Are you okay with that?
All right.
Okay.
I got you.
This is long and ridiculous. Sorry.
Okay.
My husband, Luke, had a sister, Laura. And we were all really close with each other and saw each other about 2-3 times a month, along with their parents. Almost 6 months ago, Laura fell down the stairs at their family home and died. It was a freak accident. There was a window on the half landing. There's a window on the half landing and she hit her head on it. I was the last person to see her. I was there for less than 10 minutes and she was in her pajamas making coffee. I didn't even stay for a drink. And I struggle with how such a brief and meaningless interaction could have been her last. She deserved so much more. My husband and I have only been married for a year, but we've been together for 4 and have known each other for 20 plus. When Laura's parents found out, they called my husband straight away and we rushed over. We faced the whole thing as a family. In the days after, Luke started quizzing me. Exactly what we talked about was what she was wearing, where she was standing, etc. It progressed to me saying I was providing conflicting information, brackets, on tiny details he was deliberately misunderstanding, and accusing me of withholding information because I couldn't tell him things like what pajamas she was wearing. This escalated quickly, but lasted for less than a week, as I lost my cool and I made it clear that I was done answering his questions. He didn't bring it up again, and I wrote it off as a quick grief gesture. His behavior was generally that of a normal grieving person. Last Friday, he outright accused me of murdering her in front of her parents, out of the blue. We were all stunned. There was an inquest which recently concluded. Inquest, that's an interesting word, love that. There was an inquest which recently concluded, and there was never any doubt that the verdict would be an accidental death. So I guess they're finding out that the death is not conclusively accidental after the fact,
Okay.
is what they're saying. He said it was completely obvious and he couldn't believe that no one else could see it. He claims I went through his phone and found messages with Laura. I have no idea what messages he's talking about, and I never looked at his phone. And that I went over to confront her, and things got out of hand, and I pushed her down the stairs. By the end, he was shouting and going about how he's going to get the police involved and get the inquest overturned, and how I wasn't going to get away with it. Let me be clear. Laura and I had a great relationship. We all did. I have no idea where this is coming from other than these messages that I have not seen. And even then, I don't think there's anything that I could ever see on someone's phone that would drive me to murder. It's just ridiculous. He's been with his parents ever since this happened, and we do not talk as much. I've had some contact with his mom, but she's not being very communicative. Last thing I heard, she didn't know what messages he was referring to either. I'm still completely stunned, and I have no idea how to proceed. I made a commitment to be there for him always, and I understand that grief can manifest in strange ways, but part of me feels like my love for him died the second he called me a murderer, and I don't know how we could possibly work through this. I also really don't want to be thought of in this way, and I have no idea if he has said anything to any people we know. Obviously, I don't know if that's the case. A brain tumor or psychotic break has crossed my mind, and I suggested it to his mother, and she said she'll talk to him. Other than the questions before, he hasn't said anything odd. Obviously, he's been grieving, but he seems sane and sensible other than this. I feel like I'm going mad. Does anyone have any advice at all?
Damn.
Sheesh.
First and foremost, that relationship is over.
Think so?
It's 100% over. There's no recovery.
That's true.
There's no way. Even if, like, in a dream world, he got away from that idea that she's the murderer. What's next? Like, how can I trust you when you thought that I did what I did? You thought I was capable of that.
Yeah.
You know?
Fuck, man. I think to be honest with you, she kind of was leading towards where I was going with. I thought like psychotic break, mental breakdown.
Yeah.
This could be the cause of the grief itself. A very sudden, shocking death in the family of a loved one. I was thinking my brain was going towards there, but when she said my love for him died the second he made that comment, I really understood that comment. You know, I really understood that statement. Like you're saying, how can you come back from that?
You can't.
You know, like you thought of me as the worst human being possible. Like the worst human being possible. And now I have to love you?
You can't just turn a leaf and be like, it was.
And I don't even think any therapy or any like counseling can help that, because it's always going to be the elephant in the room. No matter how good times come ahead, it's always going to be in the back of that person's mind. Yo, I got considered as a murderer by my loved one. So, no, I don't think there's any coming back from that either.
Even one more thing. He believes, based off of a text message that he was sending his sister back and forth,
that
she saw something, right?
Yeah.
But that just proves that he was guilty of something, you know? Because he was.
What do you mean, though? What do you mean?
I think the sister and the brother were saying stuff behind this woman's back that would enrage her, and that's his thought process. Where it would enrage her into going to her sister's home
and confronting her,
and if things didn't go that south, he pushed him down the stairs, you know? So he's guilty of something, and that's why he assumes that because she saw that, he went over there and took action. You know what I mean? So first and foremost, curiosity gets the best of me. I would want to know what was said, you know?
There is a small little edit. You want me to read it?
Yeah, I would love to hear.
It says, "It has come to my attention that I accidentally used Laura's real name." Okay, never mind.
Oh, she messed up?
Can I kindly ask who commented, who is Laura?
Yeah.
Okay, I guess she's just trying to walk back the fact that she actually used her real name. Yeah, to be honest though, like with all this context here that we have, get a lawyer.
Yeah, you have to protect
Get a
yourself.
lawyer. You know, like at this point, your safety's on the line. You know, like
Mhm.
he could have a vendetta against you. You know, like there could be so many possibilities where your safety is in question. I think she needs to get a lawyer ASAP, um, and defend herself. If worst case scenario, they tried to pursue her as a criminal,
Mhm.
fuck yeah, get a lawyer immediately. Lawyer up. And it's sad too, man, because like imagine, bro, imagine like the confusion that this person's feeling.
Fuck
You
yeah.
know, it's like first they're dealing with the grief themselves.
Mhm.
Their sister-in-law or yeah, their sister-in-law just died. They're dealing with that. They're trying to, I would assume they're going to be very supportive of their husband in helping him cope with the grief too.
Mhm.
But now is looking at a
You're the
completely,
reason.
yeah, there's a completely different set of feelings here now. There's anger,
Mhm.
you know, there's resentment, animosity, confusion. Man, that's something that no person should have to
There's
deal
no
with.
coming back from
There's
that.
no
They're over,
yeah,
and to the point, she needs to protect herself by, I think, stop communicating with that family
yeah.
and lawyer up in order to protect yourself. You know? What
You
do you
think
think, Mukhtar?
go ahead, go ahead.
I still don't know. A lot of people deal with grief in difficult manner.
Mhm.
I haven't seen anybody to that extent, but I don't know at the same time how to deal with people that are grieving and in a matter of the strange situations and strange mindset they may be in. He definitely had a mental breakdown and started putting clues together of what was he's guilty of. I
Yeah.
agree, and that he's taking steps of what did I do that may have caused this, and oh, she may have seen something that may have went. He's trying to build together a case, and he needs to go take some time with his family. I agree that she should step back. I don't see them taking a longer legal action against her and maybe him that may have not know how to deal with this grief, and he needs some counseling of how to sit down and how to piece things, come to peace that his sister is gone, and that no matter who you're accusing of, there is no evidence of what you're saying, and that you need to just a peaceful road back to recovery for him himself, because his sister could be that one person that's closest to him no matter who else, and that he needed some sort of coping mechanism. This is probably how he's coping with things, that there's no way she slipped.
Mhm.
You killed her because we were saying something. There's no way this could happen. And it's a tough situation, but I don't know if we can hold him. I don't know what she could do in that situation that could make this better. I don't know. The legal situation, definitely their marriage is over after that.
Yeah.
Him coming back from a psychotic break, they could recover. If they end up taking legal action against her, I don't see that relationship recovering.
Okay.
Say he is going into some kind of psychosis or he is losing his mind.
Mhm.
Does that help kind of the situation?
I don't know. I honestly, because I'm putting myself in that perspective. If my wife accused me of killing somebody in her family,
Your sister.
yeah,
Yeah.
I don't know even if it was like a mental health concern, if I could compartmentalize my thought process into believing that this is something that can be recovered from. You know, like I understand it's coming from a perspective of she's not in the right state of mind, but if this is what it's going to look like when big things happen in our life, I don't know if this is the type of person that I want to go through these events together with, you know? Because this is something big. Like you accuse me of possibly the worst act that a human being can commit, you know? And I just don't feel comfortable being with somebody who accused me of such, you know? Like, yes, we can work the facade of a perfect relationship, you know, probably work it out, act like we're happy and all that. But in the back of my mind, I know this person doesn't see me the way that they once did. And I don't really see them that way anymore either.
But say the person like um understands or comes to the realization that they are having a psychotic breakdown,
Hmm.
they seek help for it, they become medicated. Do you think there's any
I'll
chance
try.
do you think there's any
Yeah, yeah.
chance of survival of that relationship?
Like like if they come clean with me and they're like, yo, I was going through something, biggest thing that ever happened to me. And I apologize from the bottom of my heart for putting you in that in that position.
Well, I mean, I'm looking at it more so like if they help themselves, right? Or if
Mhm.
they're obviously they definitely need distance from each other, right? After
Yeah.
this, right? But say the person goes to a institution, gets prescribed medication, time has gone
Mhm.
on, and they're more like in their more mental right sense.
Yeah.
Do you think that the person who got accused can let that go?
I don't know, bro. I don't think you really can.
Would you?
I don't. To be honest,
Like
knowing. Yeah.
say your girl accused you of killing her sister,
Yeah.
and then in the next few months she went to a mental hospital, got diagnosed with some
Yeah.
whatever, and then now is on medication and is more in her right mind sense.
Mhm.
How do you feel you would approach that conversation? Still with anger?
I think the right thing to say is I would accept them for who they are and come to terms with that wasn't their that it was out of their control because there was something that happened, you know? That's the right thing to say. But in actuality, I don't know if I can really let that go, you know? I don't know if I can come to terms with the person who I thought I would spend the rest of my life with thinking I'm the worst human on the planet. That would eat at me. Like, I don't want to be in something like a facade of a relationship, knowing that in the back of my mind, even though we're going to these dinners and going to these parties and, looking great, in the back of my mind, this person sees me as this. Personally, for me, I don't know if there's any recovery, you know? I see the act of trying to make things work, but in reality, I don't know if it actually can, you know? That's my
Fair
thing.
point. What about you? What do you think? If they were to seek some medical assistance, would that help the scenario for you a bit?
I don't see a love that can, once they're that big of a crack in the foundation, I don't see a love recovering. It's difficult because at the end of the day, there's a death that was put in front of them. And his first course of action was to, even if it's a mental issue, his first course of action was blame her. Out of everyone they could have blamed, out of everyone she could have fought with, he blamed his wife. That's if that's the first person that your mental break causes you to blame, there's much worse there that you were thinking of before.
That's where I disagree. I wholeheartedly disagree with that. People
Go
can be
ahead.
sick, fam. People
Yeah,
can have mental
I
breakdowns.
They
agree.
They're not.
could,
It's still a conscious thing. Is what I'm trying to say. If
they
that is
could.
proven, do you still give them the same?
Why is his wife the first person he's looking to blame?
He's not in his right mind.
I don't think you can control what
You
your
Re-
can't
mind
control
goes
that.
through during a mental
regardless,
break.
Somebody has
Regardless,
schizophrenia. They're telling you, "I hear voices." Are you gonna tell them, "I don't hear it"? That's what I'm trying to say. Is like if it's been proven that this is because of a mental illness, does that help the scenario for you, or do you still see
it
them as
helps this situation, but I don't see a future in it long term.
that's fair? But give me your reasoning as to, or give me what you would do in this scenario where you found out that this was from a mental illness. What would you do?
I would communicate with them. I'm happy you're feeling better. I'm happy you're doing better.
But you can't be with them.
There's a long, we'll see in the future, God willing. But as of right now, I don't see us being a good match for each other. But we'll see where life takes us. Because
So there is still a chance for you.
it's that God's, because I don't know who I am in the future. It's that God's will. But as of right now, I don't see us being a match for each other. Well, let's see when you're recovered and we're both doing better.
This is that point. That's what I'm trying to say.
Where are we? We're at this. He went to
I was
therapy
painting this.
and
Yeah, I was painting the same scenario to him where this person got themselves checked in to a mental institution, helped work out their issues, and now is medicated and is in their right sense of mind.
I don't think
What is that
j-
conversation like for you?
just because they're booked in and they're taking medication and things like that, or a couple years down from them being fully recovered and fully in the state of I'm at my best self with the medication, with everything else. There's still a couple a year or two rolled down from
And then
them knowing.
when that day comes, what do
Then
you
we'll
say?
see where we are at that point.
What would you say?
I'm happy you're doing better, but I don't know right now. We're still in the mindset of this. I can't put myself in the mindset of you're doing better, and now we'll see what type of person who you are at that point, because that could be a different person than the person I knew before the death. That's not the same person.
So is it a
A
yes or
year or a couple months is two different people.
so is it a yes or a no?
he doesn't know.
I said no. I said as of right now, no. We'll see. Even if you're recovered, it's a no. We'll see where we are in a couple years if we run into each other again.
Okay.
Mukhtar thinks it's a rom-com, fam. They're
I
gonna
know,
run
this
into
guy-
each other
he's
like
so, he's dodging the answer so bad.
Yeah.
I'm trying to tell you. I'm trying to ask you.
I
What
get what
would you
he's trying
do
to
once
say.
the
I
time
said
comes?
no. What?
So no.
It's done. But
No moving
I've
forward.
seen people that have left each other and years later come back to each other.
So
And-
there is still a possibility.
But that's what I'm saying. We don't know what's in the
I'm
future.
asking you.
Right now, I would
He
say
meant
no.
there is a possibility, though, right?
So
Yes or no?
There's always a possibility
Yes,
for everything.
there it is.
That's all I needed.
Yeah.
There's always a possibility.
That's
for
all I
everything.
needed.
Nelly and Ashanti,
Are they back together?
they are having a kid and they're engaged.
Shout out to them.
Exactly. So years apart, they found their way back to each other.
Mhm.
Everyone can find, if you feel while you're gone, while you're separated, while you're in other relationships,
Yeah.
that could have been the best person for me. Let me see how they're doing, and then that leads to
That's
you
very
guys back
general.
together.
It's very general. I'm asking you
That
about
could
this.
be very.
This am I?
Life is general.
Okay, never mind. Let's move on. Let's move on.
Life is general.
Let's move on. Let's move on.
Life is not specific.
You want to tell the audience?
Life is
Life
general.
Tell them.
I like that. I like that.
No,
That's the biggest takeaway of
Give the
today.
advice to the audience.
Come on. You have your solo.
figure who you are. Don't let nobody hinder you. This guy's trying to hinder me right now.
I'm just trying to get some answers.
Yeah,
That's all I'm trying to do. This guy's trying to. This guy's
You're-
trying to Dr. Phil me right now. Like,
Yeah.
Life is gray. It's not black and white.
I never said it was.
You're trying to make it.
I'm not trying to make it.
You're trying to
I'm
make
just
it.
trying to ask for your opinion on the scenario that was been presented.
If I'm putting her shoes on and I'm saying, oh, this girl had a mental break, accused me of murder and everything like that, and my love died for her, because that's what she said.
Yeah.
I don't see a future together.
Okay.
There was no possibility.
There's no possibility.
Okay.
Okay.
Fair enough.
Got you.
I think about it very differently. I would disagree. Because I like to have nahris for people, or at least some sympathy for people that are sick mentally,
Mhm.
because I can't physically see their pain. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? I look at it in the same sense of, if somebody had, if I was with somebody that randomly had a stroke and then they couldn't use one side of their body anymore, or they became a paraplegic, I'd
Mhm.
still be with them. You know what I mean? Because I know that they're not 100% of what they could be.
Yeah.
Now, going back to the scenario here, it would take me a long, long, long time, a lot of therapy, a lot of talking to people for me to at least get out of the mindset of I was accused of murder,
Mhm.
and more in the mindset of this person wasn't in their right mind. Because I'm not going to lie, and my feelings are going to get in the way, My opinion is going to get in the way. At that very time, how I was feeling is still going to be relevant to me for a long time. So I don't think that I can't personally say that there would be a moment in my life where I can't not see that for how it was presented to me. So I wouldn't pursue that relationship anymore. I would still have love for the person, but I don't think that I could get over that statement, even if I knew they were sick. You know what I mean? So that's where I would be like, no, I can't. It would hurt too much. It'd be opening up wounds,
Yeah.
Unhealed wounds.
I agree with that.
So in that sense, I don't think me and that person can be together. There's no possibility for us.
Tough situation. Because
It is a tough situation.
we're right now, we're three not married people. So
Potentially.
Okay, talk to us.
You never know. You never.
What's
I'm just
going
saying.
on
I'm
here?
just saying.
Hey,
let that
I'm
girl know.
just saying.
Come on,
Let that
man.
girl know.
I'm just saying, brother. You know me.
all right.
I'm out and about, but I'm not like on the
Okay.
streets. I'm not on the streets, but I'm here.
No, you're not. You're right.
Go-
It's an
go
interesting
ahead.
situation, though. I don't think I've ever heard any situation this dramatic in my life.
Yeah.
Wild.
It is what it is.
Yeah, man. Cut your losses there, man. To be honest with you, I feel so much sympathy for the person writing the story. It's the worst. As I always go back to mental issues as burdens in life that people can't see,
Mhm.
because feeling all these emotions at the same time must take a toll on you. So much going through this person's mind right now that I just feel so bad for them. And just cut your losses. That's
Yeah.
all I'd say. The
My
only advice
opinion.
I would say, cut
I
your
agree.
losses, and do a lot of prayer.
Facts.
Find God.
Let us know in the comments. Let us know if you agree, and if always, please subscribe. We're bringing out good stuff every week.